really about 18 months ago, we started this journey of really doing a lot of research around the brand, speaking with customers and team members and, even our vendors alike to understand, what do they think of the brand? How do they view the brand and what does Mendocino Farms mean to them? So really 18 months ago, it started. The beauty is we knew we had a great brand. We wanted to continue, through our roots and what the founders had put in and established in place in 2005. And happily, we found out that the brand really resonates as it is, but had seen a little bit of, confusion as we moved into new markets like Texas. When we moved in, the sandwich market was really a little bit different, thinking, oh, we only have sandwiches, but we're so much more than that. And so that's really how we started this discovery and really evolution of the brand. I wouldn't say it's, revolution where we're changing the brand entirely. We're still rep by this fun blue cow, but we still have the Mendo the cow with us and still there, but continue to just evolve and be able to explain the brand a little easier to the guest as we enter these new markets and even new markets in California, where we've been around since 2005.
Just as a little background, have always been intrigued by Mendo the cow. Where does that come from?
So funny story. There's lots of stories around it, but I think when Mario and Ellen opened Mendo in 2005, they were down in kind of a basement of a tower in downtown LA, and to get some sales, Mario's like, we got to get somebody looking at us, knowing we're down here, and lo and behold, the cow came about to attract some attention around that. So that was one big piece of it, and then it just sort of took on its own life from there, and became this very whimsical, fun-loving cow where the kids love the cow and hang around the cow and hang out, and so it's become more our identity. But really, it was about attracting and getting guests to notice who we were.
Well, milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah, great.
With the rebranding, I noticed it's going to be everything from trays to bags. A lot of to-go items are going to have the new look. Can you kind of explain what the idea and where the new look will appear?
Yeah, it'll really transcend through the entire business, from, as you just mentioned, bags and tray liners and plating, things like that. But also our uniforms. Our team will get new uniforms, hats, shirts, aprons. Like all our messaging inside our restaurants will be more directional and more intentional around our catering and our food and our quality and fresh ingredients. We've always had those items in there, but a little bit more directional and precise, where it really is attractive and the guests notice much more than maybe a little bit of what we've had in the past, where it was a little mixed messaging all throughout the restaurant. So honing that, you'll also see it in our website. We'll do a new website design, new app. Everything like that will all have these new touches of the brand colors. Our signage, we're dropping the word sandwich market from our signage as well in our exterior of our building. So it'll now just be Mendocino Farms, because we're so much more, with salads, taking up a good portion of almost 50% of our menu. And last year we introduced grain bowls. So now we have not only the sandwiches, but the grain bowls and the salads as well. So really, really touching almost everything in the business.
A lot of this is planned as you enter your new market of Atlanta. That's later this year.
Atlanta's still on our docket. It's continued to move around with all the pandemic and everything. So timing wise, we're still holding out. We do have, it looks like about 11 to 13 will get open this year. Atlanta is on our list, but right now that's kind of been moving around on us a little bit. But Texas and California will be those primary number of openings. In Texas, still being really a new market. We just opened Houston Heights right before the holidays. We've got a couple of coming to Dallas this year and another one in Houston. So all still really relatively new markets, since we opened just before the pandemic in Houston and Dallas. So, still introducing the brand to Texas.
I looked on your website before we started this conversation, and it looked like 42 units are now open.
That is correct. That's correct.
And one of those is your first delivery only unit in Oakland, correct?
Actually, we have two of those. We have one in Long Beach that we opened up in 2020, and then we opened Oakland in 2021, and we've got a couple of more of those slated for 2022. One for sure, possibly a second in 2022.
I
Both of which will
noticed
be in California.
I noticed several of the rebrand pieces included your catering trays, things like that. How much of your traditional unit sales is off premises?
So traditional catering off premise is about 20% of our business. Some higher, some lower, depending on the location. More downtown is obviously a little higher than maybe a suburban location. But off premise has been better than 60% of our total business for years and continues to be that. Probably slightly higher since pandemic.
I was going to say,
But
what impact did the pandemic have on those sales?
well, especially in California, where dining rooms were closed for much part of 2020 and into 2021. That was well above, obviously, 80%, of our business there, but still continues to be pretty high. We've noticed that shift of guests that really is, they learned the convenience of Mendo and still using it for that convenience. We are seeing dining rooms come back. We are seeing those, that community gathering place that we are starting to take on a little bit more. So our dining rooms are coming back, but still at a little bit slower pace.
Square footage wise, what is a traditional Mendocino Farms unit?
So what we're shooting for is somewhere between 25 and 2,800 square feet, pretty typical to most fast casual. Currently, we range from about 1,900 square feet up to a little over 3,000 in our fleet, our current 42. But, primarily we're looking for that 25 to 3,000, 2,800 square feet.
And I notice I'm very familiar with your Beltline Dallas location, and it has a huge patio. Is patio a big consideration going forward?
It is. We've always, especially with our roots being in California, dining out in California is a great environment, and guests really gravitate to our dining room or patios rather. But same thing in Texas. Texas has its heat months and its cold months, but there's a better part of the year that it's nice to sit outside and enjoy, and especially now. That everyone's really kind of learned this distancing, and it is a nice place for guests to go outside and be out outdoors and feel probably a little safer than maybe they do currently indoors. So patio dining has always been part of who we are and will continue to always be part of who we are.
As CEO, what aspects of this rebranding are you most excited about?
I think the really for the team, right? I think the team is super excited. It's something fresh and new for them. They're excited about it, and at first I think I would have told you, well, that losing sandwich market, we're going to be able to attract a lot more guests to understand and try the culinary adventures that we set out to serve with our fresh chef-driven sandwiches and salads and bowls. But watching the team light up has been pretty exciting. I think it was a little more than I expected it to be. With a new uniform and a new hat and more whimsical. Our big rep blue cow is still a little there, but a little more whimsical than maybe it was in the past. And so I can't speak to how excited the team is, and that's probably what excites me now the most.
This is all happening on on Tuesday of this coming week. What aspects will the consumer most notice, do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll all be subtle. I think at first they'll notice the font changes, the color, a little bit of the color change. We still have our Mendo blue, but we've got some darker blues as well as some earth tone palette colors. Our signage will be with new photography. Not every single restaurant will get new signage on the exterior of the building, but uniforms they'll notice. Tray liners they'll notice, cups, bags, things like that they'll probably notice, along with a new menu rollout. We've got a few new items coming on the menu starting on Tuesday as well. So all of that will hopefully be noticed by the guests starting Tuesday. And then website changes, obviously, will on those online orders and to-go orders.
Everybody in the business has been talking about supply chain. Are you having any difficulties or any pinch points in any of the traditional menu items?
Not so much our traditional menu items. We had some, surrounding, steak and some others. Packaging was definitely, as we were going through this refresh, were we able to get the packaging and everything to land on time? And fortunately, our suppliers have been fantastic, and we have been able to hit this date on Tuesday of the 18th. But there was many days there we weren't sure if that was going to happen. So continuing to have supply chain struggles as everyone else. I think our biggest challenge has been getting new restaurants open on the kitchen equipment side. We've seen quite a bit of that, and some of our restaurants have been delayed due to some of the kitchen equipment. But so far on our food side, we've been able to either pivot with a different potential cut of protein, or still at the same quality, but being able to do that and be flex. And the nice thing about our menu evolution is, as we roll out new menu items, if we are seeing supply chain issues, we can pivot to some of these newer items that we're rolling out.
Speaking of items, I don't know what your favorite item from the Mendo menu might be. What is that?
Well, I would tell you our traditional avocado quinoa, but here lately, yeah, I think this new Thai chicken sandwiches that's coming out is probably my new favorite. It's fantastic. It's got that sweet, a little bit of that sweet heat, inspired by Thailand, and I'd encourage everybody to come give it a try. It's fantastic. It's not your traditional fried chicken sandwich. We air fry it, and it's really, really good.
And of the kitchen equipment you mentioned, you don't have fryers, correct? You do air frying?
We do. We do not have excuse me. We do not have fryers. We do air fry.
And what pieces of the kitchen equipment are you most concerned about, or do you think might stall any openings planned for this year or next?
Yeah, fortunately, we did bulk orders early last year. And what was holding us up was our refrigeration, whether it be our low boy coolers, and salad stations, or our walk-ins. Fortunately, we're solid now for the rest of the year. That equipment did come in, but it did delay us a little bit in Houston, and delayed our first opening of the year this year, which will be up in the Sacramento Roseville area. But so far, so good, I think. That seems to still be a struggle that I'm hearing out there, not only for us, but from our peers out in the industry as well.
And any plans beyond the two current delivery only units, or is that just more of a testing lab?
It's probably a little both. We do have two more that we have slated, both of which are still in lease negotiations as we're continuing to discuss. Both will be in California. We're looking at those delivery only locations really as infill markets, and markets that we're not able to get to right now. Don't perceive, us opening one of those in Texas anytime soon. As we're introducing the brand, we really want the guests to come in, experience the brand, whether it be come in and get a to-go order, but an experience and how it feels, or it's delivered to them. But really that gathering place, and that eat happy ethos that we have is really how we're trying to grow in Texas before we do any kind of infill strategy with a third party type delivery only kitchen.